Today I wanted to share with all of you a story. And the main message and moral of the story is that one person can make a huge difference in the world. We're not taught that. We're not taught that a single person can make a large impact. I mean, we're not really even taught that a single person matters all that much. And we're definitely not taught that one person can change the lives of many, many others. But it's true. One person can make a difference that lasts beyond their lifetime and that changes hundreds, thousands, even millions of lives. We're taught to downsize the impact that we make, to not even believe that we're possible of making one. So I wanted to share a story with you, my story, a part of it, that allowed me to understand this on a deep, deep level. That not only can one person make change, one person can make massive change and inspire others to change as well. So a few years ago, I had the incredible privilege and honor to attend an education symposium. I was surrounded with some of the leading thought leaders in education from all over the world. They were so inspiring. I spent probably half of the symposium in tears, both of just awe, true awe of what these people were creating and that they were living their true selves and that they were making such a big impact in the world. It was so inspiring. And then it was also made me like the tiniest bit sad, because it felt like, oh, I'm not doing all of that. Like, I can be doing more. I could be giving more and growing more and showing more and doing more and being more. And after an incredible sharing from a woman from Africa, she had just shared about the struggle that her country was experiencing with the lack of funding and resources and teachers, qualified teachers, to actually share knowledge and educate their youth. I felt so inspired after talking to her, after listening to her, actually. So then I went to talk to her and connected, and just weeping, was just like, oh my God, I want to help. How can I help? What can I do? Like, this is speaking to my soul, and I'm a teacher and I want to do more. And so she told me, go onto this site and apply, because there's a school that's looking for a facilitator and an educator to educate their teachers. And so I went home. I got home at like 11:30 and I applied that night and was just like, I want to do this. I didn't even know what it was, really. I just knew I wanted to do it. So I applied around midnight and got a phone call that next morning at 6 a.m. And I answered the phone, not really realizing what was about to happen or who I was about to talk to, and answered the phone, had an incredible conversation, went through a little mini interview to see if I was qualified, and was offered the opportunity to travel to West Africa and to help facilitate and teach and train their teachers in this amazing school, and to work with the children. And I knew instantly that I was going. He had asked me, if obviously you're gonna need time. Do you need to make sure you can get off of work? Do you have to figure out housing? All the details that often stop us. I said, nope, I'm gonna come. And I just knew I was gonna come. I was gonna figure it out. I was gonna make it work, because I was meant to be there. And I knew that if I didn't say yes right away, I probably wouldn't have said yes. I have a feeling many of you know what I'm talking about. We have these amazing opportunities that find their way to us, or we call them to us, and then they arrive just gift wrapped, handed to us. But our mind comes in, our limiting mind comes in, questions, breaks it down, tells you why you can't, tells you all the reason it won't work, and you convince yourself it's not right, even though it was handed to you, perfectly ready for you to step into it and embody it and grow. And you let your mind stop you time after time after time, which is an entirely different topic. That ability to just take action and trust intuition, because it is powerful. But anyway, I listened. I said yes, and life unfolded. I went to work, and I shared with my manager, I'm gonna go to Africa, and I want to find a way to work. I was a recruiter at the time at an intentional spiritual community, and I was also teaching at a spiritual school in the Denver area in Colorado. I went to both of my managers and shared, like, this is what I'm supposed to do. I feel it. I feel so called. And they both said yes. Like, we'll make it work. We believe in you. We believe in what you're doing, and we'll figure it out. And I actually had the opportunity with the spiritual community, Sunrise Ranch, to continue working and to continue my job. So I had an income coming in and was able to really make it all work while I was traveling, which I'm so grateful for. I talked to my landlord and shared with them, I'm going to be going to West Africa for a few months because I'm going to help open a school and develop a school and teach teachers and children, and just, I'm going to follow my heart, and I'm going to help, and I'm going to serve. And they said, you know what? We believe in you. We believe in what you're doing. And while you're gone, we're gonna you can keep your things in the apartment, and you don't have to pay rent. We'll hold this space for you. Huge. That's $1,300 a month for 3-4 months. It's a lot of money that they were willing to not receive, to allow me to serve in this way. And coming back to that limiting mind, no way would my mind have said that these options were available if I had taken the time to think about it. But because I trusted and I moved and I showed up in those conversations knowing that this was right for me, my world said, yes, we're going to support you so you can do this. So off I went. About a month later, not even, I left and I flew to West Africa. And it wasn't until I landed in Ghana that I fully was like, whoa, what am I doing here? And I get picked up, and it's a 2.5-hour drive to the refugee camp, which is where the school was located. And I arrive. I am just met with such love and gratitude and acceptance. I've never had students just love me the second that they met me. Every one of them, just hugs and conversations and touching me. I wanted to be just like touching me and holding my hand. And everywhere I walked, I just had a little posse of children following me around, and it was really beautiful. And school started, and it was hard to watch. The school systems there are not as far along as they are in the West. There's still a lot of discipline through physical abuse, lots of hitting and children being like dragged around by their cheeks, and every teacher has a dry piece of sugar cane that they can hit the students with when they're not listening and paying attention. And my background is in social work and child abuse and education, and it was just the furthest from anything I believed in. It was hard. And that first class I went to, one of the little boys that I knew had just lost his mother, because I learned about him on the walk-in, was sitting in the classroom and he was just staring out the window. He looked tired and hungry and all of those things. And he wasn't listening. He couldn't. He was exhausted. And the teacher hit him really hard. And he ended up hitting his head on the desk and getting a bloody nose. And I didn't know what to do. I ended up leaving the classroom and crying in the little bathroom hut area. And then that's kind of how the next few days went. I witnessed, and everything I saw made me smaller. I would see a child be hit. I would see a child be screamed at, dragged by their cheeks, and I would just watch. And inside, I was just kind of slowly crumbling more and more each day. And that third day when I went back to my place where I was staying, I cried myself to sleep. And I would have to say that's the smallest version of me I've ever been in my entire life. Every self-defeating thought was coming in. Who did you think you are? You are one person. You can't do this. You don't matter. You took on way more than you're ready for. Why didn't you think this through? Just coming hard, and I was ready to go home. That night when I went to bed, I had decided when I wake up in the morning, if I still feel this way, that I was gonna go home. Luckily, I woke up the next day and I just had this entire shift in my being. That internal conversation, instead of it being of doubt, it turned into possibility. Courtney, you flew across the world to be here. They thought you had something in you that you could do this. You know you have something in you that can do this. And the worst thing that happens is that they tell you, go home. Well, you're gonna go home. You're planning on going home anyway, so why not try? You made it this far. You did all of this to be here. Why not try? So I did. I slowly started, as I would witness things after class, I would talk to the teacher and I would just ask them, do you think that the behavior you saw was worth the discipline that child received? For example, looking out the window during a lecture, do you think that's worth a child getting smacked across the chest with sugarcane? And just kind of asking them to really think about what they were doing. And instead of telling them it was wrong, I was always just asking them questions, asking them to look at it different, to think about it differently. And then I was showing a different way. So I wasn't telling them you were wrong, I'm right. I was showing them. I would handle a situation differently. I would talk to them. I would ask the kids questions like, what is it that you're having a hard time focusing on? Why is it that you keep, your attention keeps shifting? Why are you bothering your friend instead of paying attention? Having these conversations with the students, asking questions, and teaching the teachers that there's a different option. That as an educator, we can educate with compassion instead of discipline. So compassion-based education. And with that, empowering and inspiring the children to speak and to share their experiences and what's happening for them. And I was able to teach all the teachers the different learning styles of the children and how to just teach differently so the children want to be engaged and that they're excited and they're enjoying themselves, and just really shifting how things were happening so that they enjoyed school and they wanted to be there. And it worked. I would slowly see the teachers changing. They'd go raise their hand and to hit a child and stop and ask a question. And slowly I was seeing these things being implemented, and they were seeing how it was possible. And then the last day came, and I had my last kind of teaching of the teachers, and they were all sitting in front of me, and I was giving my presentation and had this conversation with myself on the way to school that day that I was gonna just speak my truth fully. This was my last day. It couldn't hurt, and I needed to be brave. I came all the way across the world to do this. I needed to be brave. And so I told them, yes, because every time I'd ask a question like, why do you do it like this? They'd be like, well, this is Africa. This is what we do in Africa. This is how Africa is. And so when I was speaking to them on that last day, I said, yes, this is Africa, but it doesn't have to be Africa. In the United States, we also used to discipline our students this way, and it didn't work. And we've changed and we've expanded. And it took one school, it took one teacher being willing to try a different approach, and it shifts everything. And I asked them a question. I said, you guys are all here because you're refugees, because your country was under attack. It was under war. And you had to leave because it wasn't safe. So with your students and your children, do you believe that violence, right? Violence is an expression of war. Do you believe that violence is the answer? It didn't work for you. Do you believe it will work for these children? And seeing their faces, seeing them, those moments of like, whoa, yeah. And telling them, yeah, this is Africa, but it doesn't have to be Africa. You can be the teacher that changes it. You can be the school that changes it. You can change your approach, and you can change Africa. You can make Africa and the education system in Africa something that you're proud of, something that you had an impact in. And the teacher from that first day, he was the first one to stand up with a single tear in his eye. And he said, Miss Courtney, thank you. We didn't know. We didn't know it could be different. And thanks to you, we will make it different. We will change Africa. We will change education, and we will be that school that inspires those other schools, that then inspire those other schools, and then it expands and it grows and it becomes something different. We all have the ability, when we stand in our truth and we come from a place of love and service, we have the ability to make massive impact. If I had come into that school from the first day telling them they were wrong, telling them that they needed to change, forcing change, it wouldn't last. We see that all over the world. That's what war is. We come into these different countries and these different situations. We force change. We force our beliefs, what we believe is right and true and accurate, and we don't allow others to make the decision for themselves. We make them make that decision. Chaos erupts. We leave, and things go back to how they were, because change was created through force instead of choice. And that's the difference of the work that I was doing, was that I gave them a choice every single day. I never forced them for a moment to do something different. I showed them it could be different, and then they made that choice for themselves. And that's how true change happens. We have to be the example of something else, so that others can see for themselves and choose to change on their own. And then it lasts because they decided. They did the work because they wanted to. One person can impact so many people. So what I want you to remember is how much you matter. And that if you have something in your heart that sparks you, if you have something within you that you know is yours to bring and to do and to create and to change, do it. Because if you are standing authentic and true and aligned, your voice will be heard. The world will respond, and the universe will allow that experience to happen for you. It will back you every step of the way, even when you can't see the way ahead. So I want you to know that I believe in you. And I encourage you to do the work to find out what is yours to bring. Because we need you. And don't think for a moment that you don't matter and that you can't make a difference, because one person can change the world. I can't wait to hear your story and the impact that you are making each and every day. Because this planet belongs to all of us, and we cannot care for it alone. I love you, community. Make your impact.